everyone, we're back, and this is Trey Tortoise and Hair Boutique, and I am not making jewelry this week. I am working on a baby Afghan. Now originally I was going to do this baby Afghan, which took 2 skeins of yarn, or skeins of yarn, however you want to pronounce it, of this red heart super saver. But the thing is, when I read the directions, this was a knitting pattern for a circular set of needles, which I do not own. I own so many knitting needles. I am not going to go out and buy a knitting needle. I wanted to make a baby Afghan with this tan yarn, and it's shades of tan, and then it has blues in it for my expected grandchild. And I wanted to crochet it. So then I got to looking for the inside end, and right away it had this like clumping thing going on. But I mean, it was unraveled here. So that it wasn't a bad deal. But now I'm not sure if I should just take the whole thing apart and wind it, which I don't have a winder. I'd have to wind it by hand. This is why I don't do this stuff too often. But if I do something, a lot of this crocheting, I guess I would get a winder. Or knitting, which I don't feel like doing knitting. I feel like crocheting. So I'm going to crochet. And it's kind of a mess that I'm unraveling again. And it wasn't a mess 2 minutes ago, but I made this mess. Here's the end. Here's the end. And it wants to knot up in this little fashion over here. So I'm going to have to work this yarn pretty quickly to get this much done today. That's going to be my goal. Now I'm going to be picking a pattern out, and I'm actually going to have to do this totally mathematically. I have crocheted before a long time ago. When my children were little, I crocheted a blanket or two during that time. So, and I crocheted a hat last year for my husband when I got some knit-wise. I have some friends online who like to crochet, but I prefer jewelry making. But my daughter-in-law crochets, and my son was going to try crocheting, I guess, but because he wants to make something for niece or nephew. And I'm hoping he can do his project well, because it's a really cool project. I'll tell you about it sometime, maybe in the future, if he finishes it. And I'm sure he will. He's a very artistic guy, as is his wife. So he's got an experienced crocheter to kind of coach him to right there, so he should do well. My grandmother used to crochet, she used to knit, she used to sew, she used to do all these things, so I grew up watching her because she was my babysitter, and I would frustrate her to no end trying to teach me to crochet. And I thought my cousin was able to learn from her, and she said, no, I taught myself. No one could learn from her because she was such a pro. But the only thing we could learn is sort of watching her and getting frustrated because we couldn't do what she was doing. And yeah, and she used to get, I would have little bits of yarn and I would knot them, and she'd go, that's just knotting. But actually what it was macrame. I didn't know it at the time, but I was teaching myself to macrame, which is something I've done with jewelry making, and it's sort of funny that I just kind of naturally gravitated to that even as a little child. I used to make myself bracelets out of yarn and knots. And I was a baby boomer, so it was kind of like my generational thing, I guess, too, kind of. So I don't know. I wasn't seeing big kids doing that, though, at the time, nor on TV, because it was like the early 60s, as in like pre-1964, maybe 1964, but more like 1963, 62. So yeah, when I was a real little baby, just a toddler. And now that process is going to repeat because I hopefully am going to be babysitting my grandchild and providing some childcare for my daughter and her husband. I know I will shortly after the baby's born, but I'm not sure how much after that, but hopefully a lot. We're hoping. We'll see. Depends on if the stars and the moon line up. So, I have all sorts of needles in this. Ooh. No. And those seem to be my knitting needles. Okay, so I don't have needles in here. These are my knitting needles. Hence why I didn't want to buy knitting needles, but, and that pattern, no, you needed the round circular thing. So, I don't want to do that. So let's see. I'm going to shut the camera off and look for my crochet hooks. I know I have them. Where they are is kind of a mystery right at the moment. But I'll be back. I grabbed the wrong thing. Here it is, my crochet hooks. And there they are. I have a whole bunch, many unused, all hopefully used at some point in time in the future. But some of these are for working cottons. The larger ones are for, of course, working yarn, and if you're a crocheter, you know this. Anyway, I have 86 stitch guide, and I'm going to make something from here. And I'm not sure which, but I have read the introduction. I do know how to cast the yarn, and I am going to try to mathematically work out what I want to do with it. And try to calculate what it will do. But they'll tell you the chain, and then they tell you, you know, like you multiply it by like you multiply it by a certain equation. So I have to do some math, and hopefully I'll figure out something that will be big enough and appropriate for a baby, because I do not have a baby pattern apparently, and I don't like what I found online either exactly. So we're gonna try something and see what happens. But I'm looking at and thinking about how I don't want baby to get their fingers caught in stitches, and so it's going to be a pretty solid sort of pattern. I have thought about shells because I know my son liked one that was made of shells, so that's a possibility. But anyway, I'm going to, the other one is the mini berries, looks good. but I don't know. And then it, you know, it tells you how much to chain, and then, you know, and I think I did a Tisket a Tasket basket one, because this one looks like what I made for my children years and years ago. But I don't want to do exactly the same thing. So you know, and I kind of like, I would like to know how to do the chevron. I think that might make up in a pretty chevron. So I'm going to decide, and I'll tell you what I decided on, and I'll update you in this Make It Monday video. So I don't know if I'm gonna make anything today, but we'll see. I'm trying. As you can see, I had to turn the light on because it's snowing. So we'll see what happens. And I'm going to try to figure something out, and I'll tell you what I've been working on in a little bit when I update you at the end of this video. So after I got going on that, I was like, oh, I have so many books. Don't I have any baby Afghans around? It was kind of a disappointment because this thing said 2 skeins, and I got 2 skeins. I was like, I think I need 4. But I went with what was on the Super Heart Saver yarn that I bought. And everything in the book I found has a call for 4 skeins. And but I'm thinking maybe it'll be okay because I'm just going to make it the car seat size with the 2 skeins. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll have to see if I can get the same yarn there or something. But so far, I did make a bookmark. And now I can't find the bookmark. There it is. Oh, no, that's the actual thing I'm working on. Anyway, I made a bookmark this afternoon. And now I can't find, oh, here it is. Yep. I made a bookmark for myself this afternoon. And I have it usually in this book, which it says car seat blankets. But it is, and it has 8 crochet designs in it. And they're really pretty. But I don't have, you know, since I'm using this one particular yarn, I wanted something that was just one yarn, and I'm trying because I want something pretty much like this, and I would love it to be a little bit bigger for but anyway, it looks like this. But to me, it would be fine if it were just a little bit bigger, so the baby can have it in its stroller for a nap, or in a bassinet for a nap. But I don't know, maybe it'll turn out that big. I don't know. But so far, and I'll be working on it some more this evening. But so far, this is what I have. And I don't know. I'm hoping that the design will turn out. Right now, it's a nice edging, but it isn't really looking like that. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. I'll update you at another time. This isn't the only thing I did today. I prepared some things for jewelry making projects that I have for some kind of healing medicine sort of type jewelry that I talked about that I make. And I also unboxed a bunch of things that I needed for perfume making, for some healing oils, blends of perfumes. So I worked on that, so that was part of my Make It Monday, but I didn't do a video on it this time. maybe some other time I'll do that. But this was my Make It Monday video for February 17th. I keep on thinking it's the 18th, but it's the 17th today. And it was a little bit of a crochet talk for my crochet friends. And I will update you on how this little project goes or doesn't go. And then I'll be going, help, tutor. Anyway, so we'll see you soon. And hope you enjoyed this short little video for today's Make It Monday. See you soon. It's 9:30 at night, and I did something and it didn't look right, so I pulled it apart, and now I'm doing a different stitch of my own, and I've got this much finished, and we'll see if this turns out or I pull it apart again. So it's been an interesting day, and I'm fooling around with making a baby car seat Afghan for my future grandchild, and that's what I'm doing on Make It Monday today. So I'll update you on another Make It Monday, perhaps, on how this project went and what happened with it. Hopefully something. Anyway, so we'll see you soon. Bye for now.